Good afternoon, and welcome to St. Thomas University's Spring Convocation. I'm Dr. Kim Fenwick, Vice President, Academic and Research, and the convener for today's ceremony. Please remain standing as the University Chaplain, Reverend Peter Melanson, gives the invocation.
Dear graduates, today is a day of rejoicing in your accomplishments and of eager, if perhaps slightly anxious, looking ahead at the horizons which lie before you. As you celebrate today and continue the journey of your lives, wherever they may take you, remember that you are infinitely loved by God. That love has been made manifest to you over your time here at St. Thomas University, in the graces of the friends that you have made, the learning that you have received, and indeed in the challenges which you have overcome. All of these things, and much more during your time here at STU, have formed you into the persons you are today, and are true gifts that you have been given from on high. Certainly we give thanks for our gifts, but our ultimate response is called to be so much more. I remind you of the parable of the talents, which our Lord Jesus spoke to his disciples. In brief, a king gave varying amounts of treasure to his servants, and then went away, only to return after much time had passed to see what his servants had done with the treasure. The servants who had made good use of the treasure were called good and faithful, while the servant who had simply hidden the treasure is called wicked. The message could not be any more clear. The gifts that we have been given are not entrusted to us that we might hoard them, but rather that we might make use of them, share them with others, and so bear fruit in our world and for the kingdom of God. Knowing ourselves as loved and richly blessed, we now turn toward God in prayer. God, our loving Father, we give you thanks for all that you have bestowed upon these convocating students during their time here at St. Thomas University. You have blessed them with knowledge, enriched their lives through true friendships, and strengthened the perseverance which has brought them to this day. We pray that as they go forward, they may, with your continued help, make use of what has been entrusted to them. May they be filled with a desire for justice, a continued thirst for wisdom, and a zeal for making our world a place of greater love. May they know themselves always as blessed, sent forth, and profoundly loved by you. We ask this through Jesus Christ, our Lord. Amen.
The land on which we gathered today is the traditional territory of the Wolastoqey or Maliseet, whose ancestors, along with the Mi'kmaq and Passamaquoddy nations, signed peace and friendship treaties with the British Crown in the 1700s. I would now like to invite our elder-in-residence, Mi'kmaqan, to provide a traditional welcome both to this territory and to our convocation.
Agchigisuk, Nugumichinach, Niskamichinach, Iginimuinangiskuk, Magikanodi, Nastuodi, Ahmiwed and Dandeligan Muyak Nimajuahan, Dandel Galuk, Ikan yag auti. Ikan adawat mai ni giskuk. Unahalan and ulamalchawech. Banaden and dauti minau. Uchit negamo unahaden and mimajuahan. Ahadawat mai banaden and amsadukam lamonua. Dan des bemiach la utsithamu. Mena negamo gizi siab madu di dewa. Jugadu di dewa da gohe geluk. Awegil der dem la nui and dandelin nuisi. Nigeo la glusuahan na mautem kedegab lausithamu. Acknowledging the unseen sacred life and the sacred Mother Earth and our sacred Father Sky. Offering thanksgiving to all the ancestors of our homelands and the language that was first sounded out in these areas. I've called on my ancestors to continue to provide the spirit that was taught on our homelands, to be ever receptive to all life, and to be able to move in spirit and always open in our longhouses to be able to create a future. And Thanksgiving to all the graduates here who are moving forward out into life to co-create the future that we all are all dreaming about. And sending out offerings to your ancestors, that your institutions, your industries, your businesses all become receptive to welcome the youth here who are coming forward with great ideas and dreams, that they are welcomed, and that their new way of looking or new ideas of way of looking into the future, that they are well received. It is an honor today to be able to offer Thanksgiving and congratulating everyone. Wegi ulalio uchidum sit nogama mauhadamud and nega holbamiachto sankewodi mimajuahan. That we all live together in peace and in friendship. Wegi ulalio.
Please be seated. It's now my pleasure to introduce the platform party, and I ask that each member stand briefly when I say their name, and that we hold our applause until all members have been introduced. The Most Reverend Robert Harris, Bishop of St. John and Chancellor of the University. Mr. Peter Forrestal, Chair of the Board of Governors. President and Vice Chancellor, Professor Don Russell. The Honorable Graydon Nicholas. Mr. David Myles, Honorary Degree Recipient. Ms. Alanis Obomsawin, Honorary Degree Recipient. The Honorable Noel Kinsella. Mr. David Kuhn, Member of the Legislative Assembly, Fredericton South. Maravora Mocto, the Honorable Robert Powell. Mayor of New Maryland, the Honorable Judy Wilson-Shee. Lieutenant Colonel Dale Childs, Canadian Forces Base Gagetown. Mi'kmaq Han, Elder in Residence. Reverend Peter Melanson, University Chaplain. Ms. Lily Fraser, Vice President, Finance and Administration. Ms. Jody Michelle, Vice President, Advancement and Alumni Relations. Dr. Susan Makem, Dean of Social Sciences. Dr. Andre Loisel, Dean of Humanities. Ms. Karen Preston, Registrar. Dr. Michael Dawson, Associate Vice President, Research. Mr. Scott Duguay, Associate Vice President, Enrollment Management. And Mr. Dennis Livingston, representing the St. Thomas University Alumni Association. Please join me in welcoming the platform party. I now invite Dawn Russell, President and Vice Chancellor of St. Thomas University, to address the convocation.
Mr. Forrestal, esteemed honorary degree recipients, platform guests, faculty and staff, ladies and gentlemen, and most importantly, members of the graduating class of 2019. I'm pleased to welcome you all to the Spring Convocation. As president and as a professor who taught for many years, one of my greatest pleasures is witnessing the success of our students and the conferral of degrees upon them at convocation. I expect that it won't surprise many of you to learn that as president, I do love to boast about the many successes of our students, and there's certainly much to be proud of, from our students' outstanding record of community service to the impressive record of today's graduates in attracting the best scholarships available to pursue graduate studies and professional degrees, from their lively theatrical and musical performances to their historic win by the women's hockey team of the 2019 AUS Women's Hockey Championship, and the first place ranking of our moot court team at the Osgood Cup Moot Court competition in Toronto this spring. When our students compete regionally, nationally, or internationally, they discover that St. Thomas provides them with a world-class education, with an education that prepares them not only to compete against those from universities often regarded as the best in the world, but also to win. However, what makes us most proud is that our students become engaged citizens who are involved in their communities. The most recent National Baccalaureate Survey on Graduate Outcomes revealed that St. Thomas graduates have significantly greater engagement than their peers nationally with civic issues as well as with broader issues such as environmental sustainability and social diversity. Our graduates are more likely than their peers across the country to support community causes and social justice and human rights concerns. Now, it is common for university presidents to use convocation as an opportunity to call attention to the successes of our faculty. However, I want to take this opportunity to publicly thank our faculty for their continued success in delivering the kind of education that we promise our students. An education which teaches them to think critically, creatively, and independently, and to communicate well both orally and in writing. We all recognize the shortcomings of many external ranking systems. Nevertheless, it is heartening to know that when student voices are heard, STU continues to perform exceptionally well. In the spring 2017 issue of Maclean's magazine, St. Thomas University was ranked #1 in Canada on the Writing Ability Indicator and #2 amongst all universities in Canada for helping our students to develop strong critical thinking and problem-solving skills. And again in the fall of 2018, STU was ranked #1 in Canada on the Writing Ability Indicator. These tremendously positive results are noteworthy for several reasons. They are in areas that are at the heart of what we do and value as a liberal arts institution. They are in areas on which we have chosen to focus and excel, and they are in the form of feedback from our graduates. They demonstrate the value of the collective dedication, the hard work, and the fine teaching of our faculty, and also the appreciation of our graduates for the contribution that faculty make to their development and success. This afternoon, we have close to 300 graduates, the vast majority from our Bachelor of Arts program, several from our Bachelor of Applied Arts, and a few from our Bachelor of Social Work program. 52 Bachelor of Social Work graduates finish their program in December at Christmas time when we hold a grad class dinner for them. And many of them are already working far and wide, but we're pleased to have a small number with us today. Another part of our celebration today is our formal recognition of our honorary degree recipients: Fredericton singer, songwriter, and recording artist David Myles, and Abenaki filmmaker, activist, and singer Alanis Obomsawin, two individuals whose lives and examples we hope will inspire you. For those of you graduating today, this convocation marks the completion of the journey that you began when you arrived at St. Thomas. For us, it's an opportunity to recognize your achievements and to welcome you formally as members of the STU alumni family. Many years ago, I completed a similar journey at St. Thomas, and that journey was one in which I forged friendships which I can now say have lasted a lifetime, and was given an educational foundation that prepared me well for the challenges and opportunities that life later presented. I hope that in the future, you will feel the same fondness and gratitude that I feel for our small but mighty university, as one of our former premiers called us. Today is the beginning of a new chapter in your lives. It's a time to celebrate your accomplishments, to consider the future, but also a time to reflect on the assistance and support you've received. Most of us accomplish very little in life without help or support from others. There are many family members and friends here to support and cheer you, our graduates, on today. And I know that you, our graduates, are grateful for their encouragement, for their understanding, and perhaps even the financial support you may have received, which helped you to achieve what you have today. So I want to take a moment and ask you, our graduates, to stand and to convey your thanks. So if you would please stand and convey your thanks to all your family and friends with a warm round of applause. Thank you. A little more than a year and a half ago, those of you who are graduating today with a Bachelor of Social Work degree arrived on campus ready to embark on your studies. During your intensive program, you form close bonds with one another that often are only experienced in a small professional program. I have a profound respect for the members of the social work profession. As social workers, you will provide a vital service to the community, and the responsibility that your work entails can be tough. You'll be called upon to make difficult decisions, and very often you'll find that you have to choose between options, none of which appear to be ideal. But I know that you also understand that the fact that your work can be difficult is only half the story. You will meet some remarkable people who have been presented with extreme challenges, but who confront their challenges with courage and conviction. And you will get to experience the best part of yourself. In your interactions with others, you may find that you have more generosity, more patience, more humility than you thought you did. You will have the opportunity to change lives. When those of you who are graduating with your Bachelor of Arts degree came to us a few years ago, if you think back, you came from different places with diverse backgrounds. Some of you were worried whether you'd fit in, whether this was the right choice for you. But you have found your way. You've cut your own path, and I think many of you have found soulmates. As you graduate, the current economic conditions and social context are such that the contribution of the liberal arts to the workplace is sometimes undervalued. Critics accuse the liberal arts, the humanities, and the social sciences of lacking cultural or economic relevance. But the evidence shows otherwise. A recent Maritime Provinces Higher Education Commission graduate outcomes survey showed that 5 years after graduation, 95% of humanities and social science graduates are employed, 92% in jobs they are satisfied with, and with an average median salary almost double what they earned 2 years out. And just let me say that there has never been better quantification of the value of a liberal arts degree than there is at present. The most recent study is by the Royal Bank of Canada called Humans Wanted: How Canadian Youth Can Thrive in the Age of Disruption, a report that was recently updated in May of this year, May 2019. The RBC Future Launch Report, as it's been called, was one of the largest labor force data projects in Canada, as it assessed the skill rankings needed for over 300 occupations. It found that increasing demands for skills such as critical thinking, social perceptiveness, active listening, complex problem solving, global cultural awareness, and adaptability. At the time the report was released, the president of the Royal Bank of Canada, David Myles, talked about the demand for liberal arts graduates at a meeting of Canadian university presidents. And he noted that while the talent pool is improving overall, that the erosion of liberal arts is a problem both for universities and for business. In business, he said, we need a lot more of those soft skills that universities were traditionally good at and which a liberal arts education provides. A new RBC report, Bridging the Gap, What Canadians Told Us About the Skills Revolution, was released 2 weeks ago, and I was sent an advance copy. And the report explained that the demand for liberal arts skill set isn't happening despite automation, it's happening because of it. As more tasks become automated in the workplace, there's a growing demand for people with the skills to both complement and collaborate with technology. Employers are looking for technical capacity as a baseline, but the report explained that those who get hired are the ones that can demonstrate communication and complex problem-solving skills. The Bridging the Gap research report told liberal arts graduates exactly what to do with their BA. It said, it advises, put it prominently on your CV. David Myles and the Humans Wanted and Bridging the Gap reports confirm what we know to be true. We know that the liberal arts help us to understand and interpret the human experience, from individuals to entire cultures, enable us to rediscover the past and connect it to the present, to enable a deeper understanding of contemporary society. They teach us to weigh evidence skeptically, to consider more than one side of every question, and they encourage us to think creatively. They teach us to reason about being human and to ask important questions about our world. The liberal arts develop informed and critical citizens. They prepare us to adjust to a rapidly changing world, and without the liberal arts, democracy will not flourish. The value of a liberal arts degree and education is worth both the private and the public investment, engaged citizens, workforce development, and a strong society. Now, turning to you, our graduates, in Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland, there's a passage where Alice asks the Cheshire Cat, "Would you tell me which way I ought to go from here?" I expect that many of you may be asking the same question today. The Cheshire Cat's answer was, "That depends a good deal on where you want to go." A simple answer, but full of wisdom. It's natural to worry about the future, but don't just worry. Create it for yourself. You determine the direction you're going to take. Like STU graduates before you, you will eventually find your way to an exciting and fulfilling career. For more than 100 years, St. Thomas has educated leaders in almost every field of endeavor. Today, when you leave, you'll leave with a degree in your hand. But it's important to understand that that alone is not enough. Indeed, it never has been, because over time, life teaches us that success in life however you define it, requires personal qualities, talents, and skills that we can neither teach nor test in university. People skills, street smarts, a capacity for hard work, persistence and grit, a personal sense of responsibility, integrity, and a certain zest for life, chutzpah. These are qualities I know that you all have. If you doubt it, look deep and inside yourself and find them. Combined with the knowledge and skills that you've acquired here at St. Thomas, these personal attributes will assist you in creating the future you want for yourself. As a group, those of you graduating today have contributed greatly to the richness and vibrancy, the caring and compassion that characterizes our small community, and to the intellectually and culturally diverse life of our community. And you've done that through a wide array of activities. We thank you for that. Some of you have had to overcome tremendous obstacles to achieve what you have, from personal illnesses and disabilities to family illnesses and loss of friends and loved ones, from financial hardships to family responsibilities. Making it to the final leg of your journey here while coping with such challenges is truly a triumph to celebrate. I know that those of you graduating today are concerned with your own future, but I know that you are also concerned with the plight of your fellow human beings and about the challenges that face our province, our region, and our country. You know that you have both a responsibility and a role to play in addressing these challenges. As you leave the shelter of our small community here at St. Thomas, be bold, be courageous, take risks, and grab the opportunities that come your way, because they may lead you to a better future than you ever imagined. And remember also how blessed we are in this society and in the world to have a university education. I know you're going to make us proud. Keep in touch. Congratulations and best wishes to all of you.
Thank you, President Russell. St. Thomas University presents honorary degrees to individuals who have distinguished themselves either in academic or cultural circles or in service to society. Today, we are privileged to bestow honorary degrees on Alanis Obomsawin and David Myles. Both of these individuals are celebrated artists who use their voice to highlight social issues. They represent the ideals and the opportunity for accomplishments that we seek to instill in our students through a liberal arts education. Will Alanis Obomsawin please stand? Alanis Obomsawin is an activist, filmmaker, and singer of Abenaki descent, whose work focuses on First Nations and how government policies and everyday actions of English and French communities have an impact on Indigenous peoples. Her 50 documentary films mix archival material, official documents, and news footage with personal reflections, animation, traditional stories, and Indigenous legends. Her most celebrated work, Kanesatake, 270 Years of Resistance, explored the Oka crisis of 1990 and won the Best Canadian Feature Film Award at the Toronto International Film Festival. Ms. Obomsawin is also an accomplished singer. Beginning in New York in 1960, her singing career took her across Canada, the United States, and Europe, where she performed at universities, museums, prisons, and art centers in support of humanitarian causes. Ms. Obomsawin has been active with organizations that support Indigenous communities and Indigenous women. Among other groups, she has served on boards and committees for the Native Women's Shelter of Montreal, Canada Council's First Peoples Advisory Board, Studio One, the National Film Board of Canada's Aboriginal Studio, the Aboriginal Peoples Television Network, and National Geographic International. She has received numerous awards, including a Governor General's Award in Visual and Media Arts, and more than 30 international film awards. She is an officer of the Order of Canada and a Grand Officer of the National Order of Quebec. Most Reverend Chancellor, I present to you Alanis Obomsawin to have conferred upon her the degree Doctor of Letters, honoris causa.
By the authority vested in the office of the Chancellor by the Charter of St. Thomas University, I admit you, Alanis Obomsawin, to the degree Doctor of Letters, honoris causa, with all the rights, privileges, and honors pertaining thereto.
Congratulations, Dr. Obomsawin. Will David Myles please stand? David Myles is a songwriter, performer, and recording artist from Fredericton. He discovered classical music and musical theater at a young age and learned to play trumpet with Canada's Royal Conservatory. He attended Mount Allison University and bought his first guitar during an international exchange in China. Over 14 years, he has released 13 albums and an EP that span musical genres including jazz, retro rock, rhythm and blues, and country. His work with Classified resulted in Canada's best-selling rap hip-hop single of all time, Inner Ninja. He has won more than 25 awards for his music, including Music Nova Scotia Awards, East Coast Music Awards, Indie Music Awards, Juno Awards, and SOCAN Awards. His most recent recordings are the award-winning Real Love and the lush Francophone album Le Grand Départ. Mr. Myles has released Santa Never Brings Me a Banjo, a children's book based on his Christmas song of the same name. He's known for his charitable spirit. For more than a decade, he has spent December traveling Eastern Canada on his Singing for Supper tour that raises money and food donations for those in need. He also donates a portion of his Christmas album sales to community food banks. Most Reverend Chancellor, I present to you David Myles to have conferred upon him the degree Doctor of Letters, honoris causa.
By the authority vested in the office of the Chancellor by the Charter of St. Thomas University, I admit you, David Myles, to the degree Doctor of Letters, honoris causa, with all the rights, privileges, and honors pertaining thereto.
Congratulations, Dr. Myles. It is now my privilege to invite Dr. David Myles to come forward to address the convocation.
This is going to be a little easier. Thank you very much. I'm going to ditch the hat, too, if it's okay. I can take myself a little bit more seriously if I don't wear it. It's a true honor to be here. Thank you so much to St. Thomas for honoring me with this. I can't begin to tell you how much it means coming from New Brunswick and receiving this honor, coming from Fredericton. I'll tell you also, I didn't realize that it was actually a Doctor of Letters until right now, but that is particularly sweet. I'm going to tell you a very brief story. I have 3 older brothers, and they all are doctors. And for 15 years, when I broke it to my dad that I wasn't going to become a doctor, he said, "Are you sure you're ready to be the only Mr. Myles?" And I became a musician, and that's what I've been doing ever since. And I just snuck in the back door and got myself a doctorate, so I'm feeling pretty good. Pretty good. Thank you for making that a reality. It means a lot. My brothers are going to hate it. My brothers are going to hate it. But first, but mainly, I want to talk to you, the graduates. I want to congratulate you. I want you to take a moment and just think about how good this feels. Think about how much work you've put in, how much money you've spent, all of the commitment that went into making this happen. Now, you're going to go to parties after this, and you're going to be hanging out with your parents, friends, and they're all going to ask you, "What are you doing next? What are you doing next?" I don't want you to worry about that right now. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about this moment right now and why it feels so good. And my theory is it feels so good because it was hard. It was difficult. It was a challenge, and you stepped up to it, and you achieved. And now you're sitting there, and you're about to get your degree. And that is a big deal. It's a big deal for all of you, and that's why we're all here. And it's not to be diminished in any way. It's a very important achievement that you've made. And also, when you're in university, you learn a lot. You learn a lot. And the President Russell spoke about this. The power of a liberal arts degree, you learn to listen to different opinions. You learn how to be wrong. You learn that you're wrong a lot and that it's okay to be wrong. It's okay to disagree. It's okay to converse with people that have totally different opinions. That's what makes things interesting, right? That's what this degree is all about. That's what you've been doing. And now you're finishing the degree and you're moving on. So I'm here, if I can do anything, for us to think about what that degree meant and what that means when you learn how to disagree, learn to be wrong, and learn to be open to different opinions. Because it's super duper important. It really is. I did a liberal arts education, and I went and became a musician. I was sitting where you were 15 years ago. I didn't know what I was going to do. I thought I was going to go to law school. I still might. But you know what? I had no idea. I went and I worked in politics for a year. I studied political science, so I went and I did a political internship. And after a year in politics, I decided the world needed more love songs. My parents weren't pumped about it, but that's what I did. I started writing songs. I started traveling around the country. And I was recently asked, there was a polling agency that called my house, and they called and said, "Is this Mr. Myles?" And I said, "Yes." They said, "Where'd you go to school?" I said, "I went to Mount Allison, and I studied, did a liberal arts degree." "Well, how relevant is your degree in your day-to-day, your job?" And I was like, yikes, well, not particularly relevant. I write songs and I sing them on a stage. And I studied political science. And they said, "Well, how much do you use it day to day?" And I said, "Well, really, probably not very much." And then the next question was, "How much do you value it out of 10? And I said, 10. 10. It was no doubt. Because even though I don't do anything that's directly related to political science, my liberal arts degree is what I carry with me all the time. And what it was is that I learned about this idea of accepting different opinions, of being open to different opinions, being strong enough in my own opinion that I can handle lots of other stuff. And it's given me this desire to work with all sorts of people. And that, I think, has been one of my greatest strengths. So what I'm talking about is you go into university and you got this going on, right? This is your range of knowledge, your worldview. And every time you learn something else, it goes like this. And then it goes like this. And this feels good. It feels really, really good. I like to think about it like a library. You go into a library and there's a certain number of books, but every time you learn another language, every time you learn another subject, there's more books at your disposal. You know what I'm saying? The more interested you become in the world, the more interesting the world becomes. It's like it's kind of selfish, but it's awesome, and it doesn't die down. That's the beautiful thing, is that you just can keep on going into the world of history, of whatever your interest is, and it will just keep on giving to you. And the trick is, the thing that people don't realize is, not only does it make the world more interesting, but it makes you more interesting. The more interested you are in the world, the more interesting you are. You don't want to talk to someone who's all closed off, thinks they're right all the time, and is not particularly interested in the world around them. It's fun to talk to people who are open and interested in the world. I wrote a whole bunch of notes down, and I'm not looking at any of them because I'm so pumped for you guys right now. But what I'm here to tell you is keep that spirit alive. Keep that curiosity alive. I think about my own life and the big moments in my life. I went to Belgium on a Rotary exchange when I was in grade 11. I left FHS, no friends, 0 friends. I moved to Belgium, and all of a sudden, I was in a totally different world. And this was a major eye-opening experience for me, because all of a sudden, my world wasn't defined by my 3 older brothers or my friend group at FHS. It became totally different. It became Europe. It became learning the French language in a really serious way. And then in university, I went and I lived in China for a year. I studied Chinese. I studied Mandarin for a year. Another massive experience where my worldview kind of went like this and just went boom. And I just kept on getting addicted to this idea of broadening my worldview. And even though every time you do that, just like you've experienced at university, it's hard sometimes, but those movements are where we grow. It's when we get outside of our comfort zone. This is our comfort zone. Every time we go like this, that's where the gold happens. That's where the magic is. We got to remind yourself as you're going from university to keep on seeking that. Keep on seeking those moments of expansion. I was lucky enough to have that in Belgium, in China. And then I graduated from university. I had it in politics. It actually was a really interesting, experience. But where I've noticed it the most has been in my career as a musician. You wouldn't think it, but it happens all the time. They mentioned Inner Ninja, that song that I did with Classified. I still work with Class all the time. He's one of my closest friends. You wouldn't look at me and think that I had the biggest selling hip-hop recording of all time in Canada. I get that. It was a surprise to me, too. It really was. But the point is that Classified and I came from totally different places. I was like a music nerd. I did the band, I did Royal Conservatory, I knew all the theory about music and scales and all that. He'd been making beats since he was about 12 years old, just making beats on a drum machine. He didn't know minor or major chords. He doesn't have any sense of the theory of music. Now, I could have gotten in that room and said, listen, man, you don't know anything about music. Why would I make music with you? Or I could have said, obviously, you make great music. You'd been making records for years that I thought were pretty cool. I don't know how we did it. I didn't know what the process was, but let's get in the same room and see what we can do. And he was one of those guys that was open to working. And so we came from totally different places, totally different backgrounds, and we got in the room and we started to work together. And you got to think, I came in with that idea. I played my guitar, I sang, I went, I read the rules before I broke them. This was a verse that I had. It was just a verse. I didn't have a chorus. I'd been sitting on it for months. It had no future on its own. And then I brought it into the room with him, and he went, I love that. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. And then I was like, what if we called it Inner Ninja? And he was like, ooh. And both of us were like, that could be a terrible idea. But then we took the risk, and we did it. And it was a massive experience for me. It was a real highlight of my career. As we got to play on the Junos and the Much Music Video Awards. It was nuts. Nothing really changed, though. I mean, we played in this club in Edmonton one time. We rocked the place. And I was walking around feeling all good about myself, and this dude came up to me and he's like, hey, aren't you the guy who plays the nerd on the video? It's like, harsh. It's like, I don't play the nerd. I am the nerd, man. I am the nerd. But listen, what I'm trying to get at is that what made that so special is that we were both open to this experience. We were both open to working together. And what happened was you don't cancel each other out. You add to each other. We got to a place that neither of us could have gotten to on our own. And that's the same skill set that you have now. You're going to be open to this idea because you've learned in university that you're not always right. You don't know everything. And so when you're going forward, you got to remember that because it's so powerful. And you don't need to travel to China and you don't need to travel to Belgium. It's all around us all the time. There are always opportunities for growth, for learning from other people. New Brunswick is filled with fascinating culture. It is filled with fascinating culture. There's opportunities all the time to learn about Indigenous culture, to learn about Acadian culture, to learn from new Canadians who have just moved here. These opportunities are presented to us all the time. And one of the greatest things in my career over the last couple of years has been getting to know the Acadian community in New Brunswick. And when I say the world becomes more interesting, it's because I've really learned this from this Acadian experience. New Brunswick was one thing to me at first. And as I've gotten to know the Acadian community so well by playing music in French and touring in northern New Brunswick and meeting all these musicians, New Brunswick has become that much richer to me. And it's not a zero-sum game. It doesn't mean that the things that you loved before disappear. It means that you just love more. All of a sudden, New Brunswick means something different. When I work with Classified, it's not that I don't love folk music any less, or country music, or the music that I play. It's that now I can listen to hip-hop music and understand how it's made and why it's so great. You see what I'm saying? Before I only liked this, now I have access to all of this. So that's the main thing I want to leave you with, is when you're leaving here today, keep that spirit alive. Don't start going like this. Don't do it. It happens. We all know it happens. We see it. And it's an easy thing to do. We start getting comfortable, and we start to think we're right all the time, and we close ourselves off more and more. You will find that the gold exists, and you will have your most valuable moments at the moments when you expand, and you challenge yourself, and you hang with people who are really different, and you work with people who are different. That's the lesson I want to leave you with, but I'm really proud of you. You should be extremely proud of your achievements. And go kick some butt. Thanks. Thanks.
This might be a challenge.
That was not meant to be a joke. I'm sorry. This is part of the training I've learned as a musician. This is what I've learned after my liberal arts degree.
Thank you.
Is that better?
That's great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. All right, thank you for adjusting the microphone and for that inspiring address. We now proceed to the conferral, central part of our program, the conferral of degrees upon our students. After the degrees have been conferred, our deans, Dr. Andre Loisel and Dr. Susan Makem, will read the names of the graduates for presentation to the Chancellor. Karen Preston, our registrar, will assist the President with the presentation of diplomas. We begin with the Bachelor of Applied Arts. Our Bachelor of Applied Arts degrees are offered in collaboration with the New Brunswick Community College. Would the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Applied Arts please stand? Most Reverend Chancellor, I have the honor of presenting these candidates for the degree Bachelor of Applied Arts. I testify that they have completed the requirements for that degree and have been found worthy to have it conferred upon them today.
By the authority vested in the office of the Chancellor by the Charter of St. Thomas University, I admit said candidates to the degree Bachelor of Applied Arts, with all the rights, privileges, and honors pertaining thereto.
Jacqueline Yvonne Adshade. Megan Marjorie Barton. Christian Reed Bulmer. Nicholas Gordon Burpee. Adam Dylan Hamilton. Elisa Marie Hansen. John Martin Sheely. Zane West Shaw. Stéphanie Anne-Marie Thériault.
Would the candidate for the degree Bachelor of Social Work please stand? Most Reverend Chancellor, I have the honor of presenting this candidate for the degree Bachelor of Social Work. I testify that she has completed the requirements for that degree and has been found worthy to have it conferred upon her today.
By the authority vested in the office of the Chancellor by the Charter of St. Thomas University, I admit said candidate to the degree Bachelor of Social Work, with all the rights, privileges, and honors pertaining thereto.
Deborah Dawn Deacon.
Would the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts and Honor Certificate in Arts please stand? Most Reverend Chancellor, I am pleased to present to you these candidates for the degree Bachelor of Arts and for Honor Certificates in Arts. I testify that they have completed the requirements for the degree or certificate and have been found worthy of having it conferred upon them today.
By the authority vested in the office of the Chancellor by the Charter of St. Thomas University, I admit said candidates to the degree Bachelor of Arts and Honors Certificates in Arts with all the rights, privileges, and honors pertaining thereto.
Jordan Eldon Ackerman. Jean-Vincent Joseph Albert. Jack Barry Aldridge. Joshua Clifford Allen. Mariana Angelica Amero Campoy. Bailey Doreen Andrews. Lindsay Victoria Arbo. Nicolas Benoit Arsenault. Leah Margaret Ann Asbridge. Robin Nicole Ashley. Adriana Badijo Santos. Alexandra Amy Basque. Ashley Nicole Beach. Isabelle Julienne Beaulieu. Jessica Ann Bicknell. Rebecca Lynn Biggin. With distinction, Shannon Doris Blackmore. Hannah Wingate Blizzard. With distinction, Natalie Jane Bowie. Roman James Michael Bragdon. Renée Anne Brault. With distinction, Kelly Jane Brennan. Lauren Taylor Broad. Ryan Andrew Broad. Kelsey Victoria Brogan. Liam David Lawlor Brown. Zia Louise Brown. Logan Dwayne Bryanton. Kristen Dawn Bullman. With distinction, Hillary Ann Burt. With distinction, Christine Ruby Campbell. Nathalie Elisabeth Carrier. Jack Anthony Casey. Allison Dawn Chiasson. With distinction, Cassidy Lee Chisholm. She's also the recipient of the Christine Morris Prize in Journalism. Hannah Kennedy Clark. Rebecca Lynn Connor. Taylor Brianne Cook. Sarah Marie Cooper. Oriana Cordito de Sola. With distinction, Shannon Lois Cornelius. Sean Marcus Croker. With distinction, Callie Samantha Morgan Krause. William Muir Cumming. Alexandria Mary DiBraccio. Carissa Damery. Rebecca Jane Delaney. Sarah Elizabeth Joan Densmore. With distinction. Victoria Mary DeVoe. Lucretia Montgomery DeWare. With distinction, Ryan Joseph Dixon. With distinction, Kayla Nadine Doody. Lauren Allison Doucette. Elena Muriel Dow. Félix Drolet. Alexandre John Dunn. With distinction, Jonathan William Harrington Eddy. Alia Jade Egan. Robin Lee Ann Eisner. With distinction, Jensen Alexandra Ann Elliott. Taylor Brandy Lee Estabrooks. Patrick Younger Stephen Esty. With distinction, Riley Francis Gordon Esty. Ismail Agib Faisal. With distinction, Lindsay Marie Fanjoy. With distinction, Sarah Leanne Fanjoy. Chelsea Ann Feltmate. With distinction, Claudia Fernandez Ruiz. Alicia Dawn Finnegan. Claire Mackenzie Fleming. With distinction, Kelsey Marybeth Fluelling. With distinction, James Michael Foote. Shauna Foote, Assistant Registrar at St. Thomas, will assist the President in presenting the diploma to her husband, James. Aww. With distinction, Brooke Alexander Foster. Destiny Brianne Fournier. Gabrielle Lorena Fournier. Brianne Gallagher. Anna Rachel Full-James. With distinction, Matthew William Gamble. Matthew is also the recipient of the Prize for Economics in 4th year. Jennifer Lee Gass. With distinction, Jonathan Allen Guinish. With distinction, Victoria Lynn Godden. Nicole Annette Gonzalez Garcia. Ryan Patrick Godine. With distinction, Elisa Yvette Gould. Justin Alexander Grant. With distinction, Elizabeth Ann Greenfield. With distinction, Megan Elisa Groves. Allison Michelle Guitar. Megan Elizabeth Gullison. Kristen Elizabeth Ann Regular. Olivia Emily Hall. With distinction, Emily Marie Hanlon. Elizabeth Marie Hanna. With distinction, April Harrett. Emma Grace Hébert. Olivier Anna Louise Crowley Hébert. Bray Allison Henderson. Lauren Elizabeth Hanman. Nicola Ray Hines. Connor Allen Hines. Alyssa Marie Hansen. With distinction, Lorraine Elizabeth Hoyt. Lorraine is also the recipient of the David Adam Richards Prize for Nonfiction. Sarah Rebecca Hugenbolz. With distinction, Haley Dawn Francis Hunt. William Davis Hunter. Paige Jackson. With distinction, Samantha Jane Jesso. Samantha is also a recipient of a certificate in experiential learning and community engagement. Tina Joy Margaret Johnson. Jenna Mary Juntermans. Brielle Autumn Elisha K. R.J. Raymond James Kerr. Melissa Erin Ann Curvin. Keona Lynn Kingbird. With distinction, Autumn Lynn Lawrence. Samantha Elaine Lehman. Jacob Joseph Shane Leblanc. With distinction, Isabelle Kate Duffett Léger. Danica Ashley Lee Letourneau. Emily Jean Lewis. Jacob Lawrence Loy. With distinction, Megan Ila Lutz. Scott Thomas Lynch. Thomas Jacob McDougall. Margaret Elizabeth McFarlane. Jesse Dawn Mailman. With distinction, Tyler Stewart Main. David Howard Badcock Makepeace. Erin Jamie Martin. With distinction, Elizabeth Diana Matheson. Elizabeth is also the recipient of the Abdul Lodi Prize for Highest Standing in Criminology and Criminal Justice. Vincenzo Matus Diaz. Hillary Erin McCallan. Taylor Jane Mekanespi Arsenault. With distinction, Abigail Nora McCarthy. With distinction, Haley Elizabeth Mary McCarthy. Emma Marie McDonald. With distinction, Harmony McDonough. With distinction, Autumn Rose McDougall. Veronique McGrath. Veronique is also the recipient of the Alan Mason Prize in 4th year. With distinction, Catherine Lorraine McKee. Elisa Julie McLaughlin. Chase Kevin Alva McLean. Corey James McLeod. Christine Matthews Macpherson. With distinction, Evan James Kitts Mercereau. Alexa Taylor Metallic. Hope Metallic. Robin Alicia Metcalf. Robin is also the recipient of a certificate in experiential learning and community engagement. With distinction, Rachel Mary Elizabeth Milne. Caitlin Mary Mitchell. Jenna Alyssa Moore. Melissa Ann Moore. Kaylee Moore, admissions counselor at St. Thomas, will assist the president in presenting the diploma to her sister, Melissa. With distinction, Nadia Kyrene Morgan. With distinction, Sarah Moran. Sarah is also the recipient of the Christine Morris Prize in Journalism. Dina Stephanie Morris. Shannon Lee Morris. With distinction, Emma Jean Morrison. Leah Andrea Mullen. Leah is also a recipient of the Graduating Prize for Environment and Society. Caitlin Leslie Rebecca Nash. Abigail Elizabeth Nason. Tamara Lee Nedo. Tamara is also the recipient of the Marguerite Michaud Prize for French-Canadian Literature. Linnea Alexis Gale Newman. With distinction, Janelle Margaret Lorraine Nolan. Emily Ann O'Hearn. Brittany Jean Owen. Mackenzie Erica Parsons. Rachel Samantha Mandaline Patrick. Lorene Peters. Danica Leanne Finney. Courtney Lynn Pittman. Megan Diane Pollard. Mackenzie William Power. Jacqueline Ashley Purcell. Aishwarya Radha Krishnan. Gishta Ramnavaz. Emily Margaret Regan. Adam Parker Reindress. Allison Page Richard. Jasmine Elisabeth Richard. Stuart Anthony Richard. Sidney Aaron Rickard. Halsey Emily Root. With distinction, Allison Roy. Jared Ryan. With distinction, Chloe Laura Saunier. Kelsey Ann Savoy Moxon. Abigail Jean Scott. John Martin Sheely. Brendan James Seagrave. With distinction, Marcel Andres Serrano. Xavier Robert Shannon. Amanda Rose Short. With distinction, Charlotte Cleopatra Simmons. Ashley Lynn Soucy. Valerie Wren Spencer. Nathaniel Arthur Spinney. Brittany Carol Dawn Spragg. With distinction, Brett Mackenzie Stanford. With distinction, Ailey Elizabeth Stairs. Ailey is also the recipient of the David Adams Richards Prize for Nonfiction. Thea Lorena Stewart. With distinction, Joel Matthew St. Peters. Joel is also the recipient of the Bishop Hill Prize for English in 4th year and the Research Essay Prize in English. With distinction, Danielle Jacqueline Saint-Pierre. Matthew Gordon Douglas Simons. With distinction, Wei Ching Tan. Jessica Marie Travers. With distinction, Alicia Elizabeth Tucker. With distinction, Pamela Megan Turney. Pamela is also the recipient of the Frank McKenna Prize in Communications and Public Policy. Travis Kyle Valine. Jefferson Davis Vino. Emily Bernadette Vickers. Colby Peter Ward. Nicole Karen Warman. Haley Eden Waybrett. With distinction, Emily Victoria Williams. Emily is also the recipient of the Craig J. Carlton QC Essay Prize in Human Rights and a certificate in experiential learning and community engagement. Taylor Alexa Williams. Michaela Sarah Joni Woodrow. Abigail Bernadine Wright. With distinction, Matthew James Wright. With distinction, Samantha Marie Yerksa. With distinction, Alexandra Morgan Youssef. With distinction, Sonia Noel Youssef.
With honors in criminology and criminal justice, and with distinction, Christina Ashley Koshi. With honors in criminology and criminal justice, and with distinction, Shannon Irene Thistle. With honors in economics and with distinction, Nicholas Alexander Jackson. Also, he is receiving the certificate in French language proficiency. With honors in English language and literature and with distinction, Amanda Dorothy Kennedy. With honors in English language and literature and with distinction, Sarah Ashley Maddox. With honors in English language and literature and with distinction, Sarah Jade Russell Richards. With honors in French and with distinction, Rebecca Aline Kingston. With honors in great books and with distinction, Daniel James Robert Grass. With honors in great books and with distinction, Katie Louise McDermott. With honors in great books and with distinction, Ashley Kimberly Riley. With honors in great books and with distinction, Jonathan Isaac Anderson Taylor, who is also receiving the Dr. Rick Myers Prize for Best Essay in Political Philosophy and Great Books Best Honors Thesis. With honors in history and with distinction, Catherine Anna Helena Cyrell Kirkpatrick. Also receiving the Chuddy McCarthy Memorial Prize in 4th year and the Stu Singers Prize for contributions to choral music. With honors in human rights and with distinction, Katrina Natalie Amos, who also has a certificate in experiential learning and community engagement. With honors in human rights and with distinction, Mackenzie Jane Floyd. With honors in human rights and with distinction, Ray Irene Jardine. With honors in human rights and with distinction, Zwen Naka Camille Xavier, who also has the Craig J. Carlton QC Essay Prize in Human Rights. With honors in interdisciplinary studies and with distinction, Kathleen Archibald. With honors in interdisciplinary studies and with distinction, Veronica Ashley Nugent. With honors in interdisciplinary studies and with distinction, Jacob M. Roy, who also won the prize for Women's Studies and Gender Studies in the 4th year. With honors in interdisciplinary studies and with distinction, Brianna Mary Lorraine Workman, who also is the recipient of the Frank McKenna Prize in Communications and Public Policy. With honors in international relations and with distinction, Lauren Mary McDonald, who also won the Winfred Poole Prize for Best Honors Thesis. With honors in Native Studies and with distinction, Tasha Nicole Augustine. With honors in Native Studies and with distinction, Morgan Sahonis. With honors in philosophy and with distinction, Jacob Thomas Spears Friesen. With honors in political science and with distinction, Liam Spencer McBride. With honors in philosophy, with honors in psychology and with distinction, Derek George Bailey. He is also the recipient of the Canadian Psychological Association Certificate of Excellence for Honors in Psychology. With honors in psychology and with distinction, Danielle Melanie Casey, who is also the recipient of the Prize for Psychology in 4th year. With honors in psychology and with distinction, Elizabeth Ellen Dryza, who is also the recipient of the Prize for Psychology in 4th year, and the Psychology Department Award for Outstanding Performance in Honors. With honors in psychology and with distinction, Jessica Gwen Gilbert, also the recipient of the Canadian Psychological Association Certificate of Excellence for Honors in Psychology. With honors in psychology and with distinction, Vanessa Margaret Gray, who is also the recipient of the Ray and Lorraine Irving Prize for Best Essay. With honors in psychology and with distinction, Andrew David William Hall, who is also the recipient of the Canadian Psychological Association Certificate of Excellence for Honors in Psychology. With honors in psychology and with distinction, Maura Elizabeth Kinney. With honors in psychology and with distinction, Bria Rose Malloy, who is also the recipient of the Psychology Department Award for Outstanding Performance in Honors. With honors in psychology and with distinction, Lourdes Penelope Pastrana Paz. With honors in science and technology studies, and with distinction, Monica Marie Boucher. With honors in sociology and with distinction, Alicia Grace Casey. With honors in sociology and with distinction, Catherine Ellen Corlett. With honors in sociology and with distinction, Ashley Mason. With honors in sociology and with distinction, Emily Ruth McHugh. With honors in sociology and with distinction, Catherine Marie Merritt. With honors in sociology and with distinction, Sarah Marie Nason, who is also the recipient of the Bishop Hill Prize for English in 4th year, the Prize for Sociology in 4th year, and the Robert Clayton Casto Prize for Poetry. With honors in Spanish and with distinction, Noel Marian Gucci. With honors in criminology and criminal justice, and with honors in human rights, and with distinction, Noah Riley Turner. Dr. Andrea Schutz will assist the President in presenting the award to her daughter, Kira Elizabeth Chisholm, who is graduating with honors in English language and literature, and with honors in political science, and with distinction, and also the winner of the Winford Poole Prize for Best Honors Thesis. With honors and in human rights, and with honors in political science, and with distinction, Emma Christine Walsh. With honors in interdisciplinary studies, and with honors in Spanish, and with distinction, Anisha Petronella Romani, who is also the winner of the Madres de Pausa de Mayo Prize and the Marta Traba Prize. With honors in great books, and with honors in human rights, and with honors in political science, and with distinction, Talina Mary Debley. With honors in great books, and with honors in human rights, and with honors in political science, and with distinction, Abby Patricia LeBlanc, who is also the recipient of the 4th year Great Books Essay Prize, the George Harrington Prize for Political Science, and the prize for highest standing in a Great Books major. And the Certificate of Honor Standing in English Language and Literature, Liam Patrick John Mulheron, who is also the winner of the David Valensky Prize in Creative Writing.
Please join me in a round of applause for our graduates. It's now my pleasure to introduce the valedictorian for today's convocation. The valedictorian is chosen by the graduating class in an election held each spring. I am pleased to introduce this year's valedictorian, Kira Chisholm.
Most Reverend Chancellor Bishop Harris, President and Vice Chancellor Russell, honorary degree recipients, honored guests, faculty, staff, family members, and friends, thank you for joining us today. Your support has been essential in getting us to this moment, so it's wonderful that you get to be here to witness the payoff. And of course, an extra special thank you to the class of 2019. Without you and your hard work, we quite literally would not be here. So, when thinking about what I would say to you today, I was faced with the delightful little paradox of beginning a goodbye. And I was really concerned with finding the perfect way to begin this send-off. We all come from different backgrounds, we've discovered different interests, and have had different experiences while at St. Thomas. And I wanted to begin with some sort of memory or shared experience which brought us together. But I was struggling to find the thread that connects our journey beyond the coincidence that we all happen to go to St. Thomas. And I eventually realized that, like a great many other things I've learned here, the answer was right in my question. Trying to figure out how to begin is exactly what brought us together 4 years ago, and it's what connects us on our journey today. We are here together in a moment of transition, and we arrive here today having overcome challenges which are maybe unknown to the people around us. You fought to come here, you persevered to stay here, and getting to today is nothing short of a victory. Today, we celebrate that triumph. Today, we honor who you were, we celebrate who you are, and we embrace who you will become. The fact is that we're not who we were 4 years ago. We came together at a time of beginning and of leaping into the unknown. Beginnings are frightening. For many of us, The first few weeks of classes and welcome week may have been overwhelming. We were faced with trying to find new friends, trying to find belonging. Maybe you were trying to reinvent yourself in a new place, or trying to figure out what you were going to study for the next 4 years. For some, it may have been a seamless transition where you instantly found your footing and found your community. But for others, it may have been overshadowed by doubt as to whether St. Thomas was the right place and whether liberal arts was the right choice. Regardless of how that initial leap felt, I think that I'm safe in saying that we weren't alone. Professors, staff, and administration made St. Thomas a place in which to confront firsts. Maybe it was your first time living away from home. Maybe it was the first time in a new country. Maybe it was your first apartment, the first time you felt proud of something, or maybe it was the first time that you didn't feel so proud of your work. Maybe you found your first love here. Or maybe the buildings of campus were witness to the first time that you picked yourself up after disappointment. Whatever those firsts were, St. Thomas has been a part of growing up. It's where we started to figure out who we are, and it's what has equipped us to move forward. Moving on from a place that was kind to you is hard, but I just want to emphasize that this is anything but the end. The people who you stand among are cheering for you wherever you go, and they're rooting for you whatever you do. Our memories of St. Thomas are full of wonder and challenges and triumphs. It's the place where friends have become soulmates, where vague interest has become passion and purpose, and where our studying has given us tools for life, and where curiosity has opened a whole new horizon of possibility. We're all familiar with what graduation means. In the typical sense, it signifies the completion of a course of study. But this moment of completion is also located in the midst of transition. The word connotes moving onward and upwards, discovery, improvement, and development. And I am certain that St. Thomas has prepared us for whatever lies ahead. But the work does not stop here. The next step looks different for everybody, but I think that as we move forward, that next step is also overshadowed by the media telling us that we live in interesting times. The responsibility to ensure that interesting does not become catastrophic, it will fall to us and our generation. But I think it will find us prepared. As we turn the page to a new chapter today, I offer you this. I hope you find joy wherever you go. I hope that you find purpose if you haven't quite figured that out yet. I hope that you continue to follow your curiosity. I hope that you'll know when to stand firm and when to compromise. I hope that you will love deeply. I hope that you will learn from the people around you. And I hope that you spend your precious time on this planet living to the fullest. I hope that anger at injustice will spur you to action. And I hope that fear will inspire courage to inspire you to go deeper. Because ultimately, in the words of Shakespeare, our doubts are traitors and make us lose the good we oft might win by fearing to attempt. Rather than fall prey to despair, I hope that you will go towards the difficulty wherever it lies, and that you will bring the right tools for the fight, whatever it is. As we move forward, recognize that you are armed with the ability to think deeply. Recognize that power and that responsibility. St. Thomas has taught us the value of a voice. I hope you value your own voice. I hope you use it to speak up for yourself, and I hope that you use it to speak up for those who truly cannot do so for themselves, and that you have the humility to recognize the difference. This education is a gift. It is not available to everyone. And the question is, what will you do with it? As we go our separate ways, consider that the moments which test your patience or seem to push you to your limit are the ones that will shape you into who you will be. Honor those moments. The people with whom you disagree the most are the ones who have the most to teach you. Listen to them. Know your limits so that you can push them. No matter how small it is, when victory comes, celebrate it. Everything that crosses your path from here on out is here to help you begin, and it's here to help you answer the question of who you will be. And as you go about this, remember to think carefully, to speak compassionately, and to listen closely. Do not hide from yourself or from your potential. You have gifts to share, and they're gifts that the world needs desperately. Believe in them and show the world who you are. It is with nothing but the greatest pride that I stand among you today, such dear friends, and I just can't wait for what you do and what you show the world. In recognition of all the hard work that got you here, I offer you my sincerest congratulations. Today, we celebrate the turning of a new page, and we begin with a goodbye.
Thank you, Kira. St. Thomas University awards a special rank for professors who have demonstrated great distinction for exceptional teaching, high-quality research, and a creative contribution to the development of the university. In our 119-year history, the rank of Professor Emeritus has been awarded only 11 times. Today, Dr. Patrick Malcolmson will become our 12th recipient. Over 3 decades, Dr. Malcolmson was twice Vice President Academic, chaired the Department of Political Science, and served as acting chair for 5 other departments. He served on the Board of Governors, the Senate, and as director of the Atlantic Human Rights Center. He has authored 3 books and has lectured at Oxford and universities throughout North America. Dr. Malcolmson has appeared as an expert witness at Parliament, and he has also been presented to the Governor General and 10 provincial lieutenant governors on the role of the Crown in responsible government. He is the only person to earn all of St. Thomas University's highest awards for teaching, for research, and for service. I invite Dr. Malcolmson to come forward to receive his award from President Russell. Congratulations, Dr. Malcolmson. At each spring convocation, we honor members of our faculty for achievement in the areas of teaching, research, and service. I would now ask our deans, Dr. Susan Makem and Dr. Andre Loisel, to come forward and announce this year's Special Merit Awards for faculty.
The John McIndee Memorial Teaching Award is being awarded to Dr. Monica Stelz from the Department of Psychology. Dr. Stelz's scholarly work focuses on human sexuality as well as social identities and migration-related processes such as attitudes towards immigrants. Her approach to teaching reflects her 3 goals of having students be active in their own learning, conveying the importance of continuous learning, and providing students with the tools to critically evaluate knowledge. Her students describe her courses as complex, intellectually stimulating, and delivered in a well-explained and thoughtful manner. They consistently comment on her ability to inspire them to the wondrous and unlimited process of learning. I invite Dr. Monica Stelz to come forward to receive her award from President Russell.
This year's recipient of the University Special Merit Award for Scholarship is Dr. Christian Mbarga from the Department of Romance Languages. Dr. Mbarga is an internationally recognized scholar who specializes in French 19th century literature, African ethnography and lexicology, linguistics, and French as second language didactics. In 2012, he began a multidisciplinary research on the history of the Beti people of Cameroon, Equatorial Guinea, Gabon, and the Congo. He hopes this research will create a reliable record of a culture whose elders are the primary and the last knowledge holders. 3 books on this research were published this year and will be launched in Paris, Cameroon, and Côte d'Ivoire in the coming months. I invite Dr. Mbarga to come forward to receive his award from President Russell.
This year's recipient of the Award for Excellence in Part-Time Teaching is Dr. Janet Durkee-Lloyd from the Department of Gerontology. Dr. Durkee-Lloyd has been a long-standing proponent of experiential learning in the classroom, and she trains students in the use of large data sets in community and research projects. She strives to ensure her students are equipped with the skills they need, whether it is the basic skills a first-year student can carry through their degree or the practical skills a gerontology major can carry into the workplace. Her students report that time spent in her classes gave them a competitive edge in their applications to graduate schools and the workplace. I invite Dr. Durkee-Lloyd to come forward to receive her award from President Russell.
At today's convocation, we are awarding the University Medal for Academic Excellence in Arts. This is the highest award in arts offered by the university and is made possible through an endowment created by President Emeritus Dr. Daniel O'Brien and his family. The University Medal for Academic Excellence in Arts is awarded to the graduating student with the highest overall standing in the Bachelor of Arts program. When I announce the name, I ask that the recipient come forward and receive the medal from the University Chancellor, Most Reverend Robert Harris, and President Russell. This year, the University Medal for Excellence in Arts goes to Anisha Romani. The University Medal for Academic Excellence in Social Work, also made possible through an endowment created by President Emeritus Dr. O'Brien and his family, goes to Taylor Streit. Unfortunately, Taylor is not with us this afternoon, but will receive her medal at a later occasion. We now proceed to the announcement of the highest award received by a graduating student, the Governor General's Academic Medal. Governor General's Medal, established in 1873, is one of the most prestigious awards that a student can receive in a Canadian educational institution for exceptional academic achievement. When I announce the recipient, please come forward to receive the medal from the Chancellor and President Russell. On behalf of Her Excellency, the Right Honorable Judy Payette, Governor General of Canada, we are pleased to present this year's Governor General's Medal to Elizabeth Dryza. I now call upon Mr. Peter Forrestal, Chair of St. Thomas University's Board of Governors, to offer closing remarks.
Wow, what an afternoon. And I can't help but feel somewhat inadequate after that inspirational valedictory by Kira. Those off-the-cuff remarks from David. I think he's Dr. Myers. Am I the first to call you doctor? Your mother would be proud. I know she's here. You can't help but feel inadequate. I think David lost, he should be a politician. What a speech. But Chancellor Harris, President Russell, honored guests, parents, and supporters, on behalf of the Board of Governors, I am very pleased to offer our congratulations to the class of 2019. To each of our graduates, you've been diligent, you've persevered, God bless you, and we're here to celebrate your achievement, and we're very proud of you. And we have great hopes as each of you make your way in the world. So today, it's your achievement, but just remember, you had lots of support. The teaching and scholarship of our faculty provided you with a high-quality education. Our staff helped create a wonderful learning environment. Don't we have the best campus ever? Oh, it's beautiful. And support from the alumni and friends of St. Thomas has created many opportunities for you and will create many opportunities for you in the future. Your families, your mothers, your fathers, your brothers, your sisters, husbands and wives, partners and friends, yes, like Hillary, your children have supported you in ways that only you know. Now, in the coming years, you're going to have the opportunity to contribute to your community, whether it's here in New Brunswick, elsewhere in Canada, or yes, anywhere around the world. The world is your oyster, as they say. So on behalf of the Board of Governors, we do hope that you carry with you the lessons that you've learned here at St. Thomas University, and that you will keep forever the friendships you have forged among your St. Thomas family. You've been a student for 4 years, and now, like me, President Russell, and thousands of others, you will forever be a proud alumni of St. Thomas University, a member of the class of 2019. Tommies forever. Thank you.
Thank you. This brings the 2019 Spring Convocation ceremony to a close. Congratulations on behalf of myself and our faculty to our graduates, and thank you to their families and friends for joining us this afternoon. I would also like to thank the Thomas for providing today's music. After the platform party and the graduates have left the building, you are invited to join us for a reception in the dining room at George Martin Hall on the St. Thomas campus. The national anthem this afternoon will be sung by St. Thomas graduate Anisha Romani. Please stand for the national anthem and remain standing until the procession has left the building. Thank you all for joining us this afternoon.
Oh, Canada, terre de nos aïeux, ton front est saint de fleurs glorieux. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.